Welcome back, friends. We are back with yet another interesting activity for us to practice Python. This activity will be called Secret Messages Part 2, and this is really a continuation of the Part 1 that we had been building a little bit earlier. Now, remember in Part 1, we had basically built a bunch of algorithms, bunch of functions with which we could create secret messages. So we took a message and we could somehow jumble the positions up. For example, reverse those values, for example, do an even odd swap and so on to create secret messages. Now we are going to continue in this activity, and there are two things we are going to do. One, we are going to build ourselves a Caesar Cipher. Now, Caesar Cipher is a different kind of encryption. In fact, it is what is called a substitution based algorithm. So if you look at whatever we did earlier, we had looked at the secret messages, and like I said, the the messages were generated by changing positions of these letters in a sentence. Now this is called transposition. What we will do in this class, in this let's say activity, is that we will build a substitution algorithm which is called a Caesar Cipher, and then we'll do something really interesting, which is that we will try to break a code that has been created using a combination of transposition and substitution. Now this part is really interesting because it has implications, it has kind of links with some real things out there as to things happen, and it also kind of makes you feel a little bit like a detective. So I thought this activity is going to be quite interesting. Let's just briefly look at the learning goals that we have from this. First, the new things we are going to learn is that we are going to learn about how do we generate random numbers in Python. Now random numbers are obviously very important in any programming language. We'll see how we do that in Python. We are going to learn something called a break statement in Python. So remember, we have looked at the for loop. For loop is basically a repeat loop along with a variable. Today we'll see how we can use the break statement to prematurely stop a for loop, and why is that needed sometimes. In fact, this activity will give us a perfect use case for that, that usage, and hence we'll see how that works. And of course, as we go through this, we are going to have a lot of practice about variable scopes, about the for loop, string slicing, the modulo operator, and so on. So it's going to be a beautiful, interesting practice in Python in general. And I think overall an interesting activity. As always, like I said, having an activity gives us a goal, gives us a storyline, which I think motivates us to do better. It also gives us more ideas on what can happen. Now, before I wrap this up, I just want to tell you that since this activity is really a continuation of the part one, so what I would want you to do is that, in your Ripple account, previously you built part one, you can go to this thing called My Ripples, and over here you will notice that there is a secret messages part one. You might have called it differently, that's okay, but there must be some project which has the, let's say, which is what you had done earlier. So you can just go and right click on these three and just say over here, say this thing called fork. Now when you do fork, you can say confirm this thing, and it's going to create a new project for you. But interestingly, this project will be a replica of the project that you had been building. So what that means is that all these functions that we have previously created, for example, even or swap, reverse word, and say some of these will be available to us. In fact, we are going to need them today. So what we will do is that we'll just kind of let them be and start from here. The only thing I'll do is that before moving forward, I'm going to just call it, let's say, the second part or something like that. I mean, you can name it whichever way. So I'm just calling secret messages second part, and that's about it, right? So with that, we are ready to get started. I hope this introduction gave you an idea of what this activity is all about and how you can move forward. Uh, with this introduction done, we'll meet in the next video where we'll see how we can build a Caesar Cipher. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.